Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I welcome all of you to His Holiness Chandramauli Swami daily class. And today Maharaj will continue on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, verse 20. Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, so we're doing a dual program on his screen. So if you're looking for him, you might find me. And if you're looking for me, you might find him. Okay.
We will share the screen.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Bhagavanu Vajit Tatvayaham Tositam Samyag Veda Garva Siriksaya Chiram Bratena Tapasam Dustasad Kutak Yoginam. Translation. The beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma. O Brahma, impregnated with the Vedas, I am very much pleased with your long accumulated penance with a desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with the pseudo mystics. Purport. There are two kinds of penance, one for sense gratification and the other for self-realization. There are many pseudo mystics who undergo severe penances for their own satisfaction. There are others who undergo severe penances for the satisfaction of the senses of the Lord. For example, the penances undertaken to discover nuclear weapons will never satisfy the Lord because such a penance is never satisfactory. By nature's own way, everyone has to meet death. And if such a process of death is accelerated by anyone's penances, there is no satisfaction for the Lord. The Lord wants everyone of his parts and parcels to attain eternal life and bliss by coming home to Godhead. And the whole material creation is meant for that objective. But under severe austerities and penances for that purpose, namely to regulate the process of creation so the Lord might be satisfied. Therefore, the Lord is very much pleased with him. For this, Brahma was impregnated with the Vedic knowledge. The ultimate purpose of the Vedic knowledge is to know the Lord and not to misuse the knowledge for any other purposes. Those who do not use Vedic knowledge for that purpose are known as Kuta Yogis, or pseudo-transcendentalists who spoil their lives with their ulterior motives. Umagyan Timadandasya Yanajana Salakaya Chaksun Malitam Nena Tasma Shiva Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharne Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Pasyatya De Sutarine Manchakalpa Turubhischa Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. That is, Bhagavatam explains in a series of verses that all activities ultimately are meant for the pleasure of the Lord. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he confirms this point himself. Whatever you do it as an offering to me. Whatever you eat, whatever you give away, what austerities you repent and perform, do it as a devotional service. So there are many who take on austerities for material gain. And their goal is, of course, to increase their sense gratification, either immediate or here we have the example of nuclear research, long term. In other words, it's about me. And that is what the conditioned souls do. They sacrifice a lot of their own desires for something that they want to achieve. Prabhupada mentions how a politician will undergo, he will give up sleep, at least reduce his sleep down to the bare minimum. And we will take time away from his family duties and travel around and campaign for his presidency or for his political office. That's a type of a penance, austerities. The student wants to get good marks in his exams, so he focuses on that and stops doing everything else and devotes his full time for studies so he can get the best marks in his university. So people perform austerities, and sometimes there's very severe austerities. Like we know that during the Vietnam War in America, the 1960s, the late 60s, early 70s, Buddhist monks were protesting the war by immolating themselves. They were setting themselves on fire as a protest for the Vietnam War. So you might say, of course, that these are foolish types of austerities, but it's a kind of austerity for some material message or some material gain.
Sorry, Guru Maharaj, they are saying sound quality is very low. Can't hear very much clearly. So sorry to interrupt.
So let's hear some feedback from devotees. Can you hear me?
Your sound is too low, Maharaj.
It's low, Maharaj, yes.
But I can hear nicely, Guru Maharaj.
So some are hearing and some are not. That means it might be your own receptive.
Well, you're very clear, but the sound volume is too low.
We have a volume increase here somewhere.
This is maximum.
We're at maximum volume.
I hear it fine, Maharaj.
Well, all right, I'll try to speak louder for those who say that they can't hear. If I sound like I'm shouting a little bit, it's not meant for that reason, just for the devotees to hear better. Okay, so we were talking about austerities that are done for personal gain or sometimes political gain. People sometimes do fasting for long periods of time just to send a message that they protest certain political programs. So there's austerities and penances are there. But those austerities and penance, the example is given here, do not please the Lord. Hardly, he says. Those austerities and penances that are in line with the devotional service to the Lord are pleasing. And when something is done for such greater spiritual progress, both individually and collectively, for instance, those who take on the austerity of traveling and preaching, now that's an austerity, not having a particular place to stay, changing schedules, changing environments. Change is constant. But the goal is to preach. The goal is to follow the instructions of Lord Chaitanya to go to every town and village and give Krishna consciousness to others in the best way possible. So those kinds of austerities are very pleasing to the Lord. And the whole process of bhakti centers around that, to please the Lord. When the Lord is pleased, then the door to self-realization is open. In other words, the path becomes easy and natural. So therefore, the devotee thinks, what are those activities that I'm supposed to perform? And what are those how to perform those activities in such a way that they'll please the Lord. Brahma, what was his situation? He had to bring in the Vedas to the next manifestation of creation. And so he had performed this austerity of learning the Vedas. He learned the Vedas so well that he memorized everything within the Vedic. His intelligence was so great. And as it says here, excuse me, he was impregnated with the Vedas. That means he was full in Vedic knowledge. And therefore, the Lord didn't say, I'm pleased with you. He said, I'm very much pleased with you. He put some emphasis on his pleasure. So Brahma really pleased the Lord by taking on the austerity of learning all the Vedas so he could propagate Vedic knowledge through the next creation, by create different living entities from his own body who were progenitors who could bring about Vedic knowledge. And of course, his main son was Narada Muni. He's called Narada Rishi. He is the Rishi of the demigod. So he's full in Vedic knowledge, and there are others also. So Brahma really pleased the Lord. Then we have the example in the 4th canto of the Prachetas, how the Prachetas, 9 brothers, they developed such a friendly relationship with each other that they served each other by serving the Lord in that friendly relationship. And the Lord again said, I'm very much pleased with you. And then he said, I'm so pleased with you that please take a benediction, ask anything you want from me. So the program or the focus of bhakti is to please the Lord. And how to please the Lord is very easy when we continue to inquire from the spiritual master, how can I please the Lord? This should be a regular affair. There are those who are claimed to be disciples, but they never contact their spiritual master. They never ask any questions. They never come to any of the programs that the spiritual master has. And they call themselves disciples. So what kind of disciple is that? It's not really a disciple. It's someone who is just sentimentally attached to the idea that I belong to a spiritual organization, but they don't do anything, or they don't make any efforts, or they think that they know how to do everything, and therefore they go on with their spiritual life without inquiring. It would be natural to inquire, saying, this is what I'm doing, and whether this is pleasing for you or not, and how can I improve my service? How can I improve the quality of my activities? That would be a sincere disciple. But then there's others who take initiation and then you don't hear anything from them anymore. I'm speaking from experience. So yeah, so this is, so you have many disciples who claim to be disciples, but they're not really disciples. And although they have a name and they claim that they have a spiritual master, but there is a relationship with Krishna through the spiritual master that must be cultivated. And that cultivation of that spiritual relationship with the relationship with the spiritual master is our cultivation of our relationship with Krishna. Because it says here, the Lord happened to be the guru of Brahma. So he was very pleased with Brahma. So he's in the position of not only being the supreme personality of Godhead, but he is Lord Brahma's guru. He gave Brahma the instructions how to become self-realized, and Brahma carried him out and was very successful in carrying out the instructions, so much so the Lord said, I'm very much pleased with you. So can you imagine? We can imagine when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all existence, the cause of all causes, the all power in existence, the transcendent Lord, when he says, I'm pleased with someone, how fortunate is that person? How fortunate is that person? Then there's nothing else to achieve. So this is the mood of a disciple, to somehow or other execute their devotional service in a way that is pleasing to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we take evidence by pleasing the spiritual master. Because if the spiritual master is pleased, as it says, Yasya Prashado Bhagavat Prashada, Yasya Prasadam Nagati Kutopi. By the grace of the spiritual master, one gets the mercy of Krishna. And without the grace of the spiritual master, Nagati Kutopi means it's all a useless waste of time. So therefore, one should be very aware of the activities one performs and how best to perform them. And if we take a little research, we will understand how to serve in every condition, how to accept Srimad Bhagavatam and learn from it, how to chant our rounds, what is the mood of a devotee, what are the qualities and characteristics that is pleasing, what are those relationships with others on different levels that is proper and Krishna conscious, which ultimately is very pleasing. So all of these things are intricately entwined with the instructions of the spiritual master. And therefore, a disciple has to be proactive, has to be very eager to learn and to serve also. And that is the quality. Just like the spiritual master is eager to preach and bring more people in, the disciples has to be eager to learn and to try to satisfy the Lord by their service, satisfying the spiritual master. So this is the essence of this particular verse here, that it's all about pleasing the Lord. And one of the qualities of the Lord is that one who tries to please the Lord is pleasing the Lord. So even if it falls short in terms of the quality of the activity, if there's a sincere desire to please the Lord accepts that, not so much the results of the activity. He sees, oh, this devotee is trying to please me. Therefore, let me give him my mercy. Yeah, and that's why Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Patram Pushram Phalam Toyam Yome Bhakta Pranashiti Daraham Bhakta Uparitam Yasnami Vayatat Manaha. Leaf, water, fruit, and leaf, water, fruit. What's the other one? Offer me a leaf, a flower. Okay, flower also. But what are these things? These are so easily available. Anyone can find any one of these things at any time in any area of the world. But what does Krishna says? By bhakti. By bhakti. So otherwise, the activities that we perform, in one sense, can be done easily by the Lord himself. But what he is eager to get is that love and devotion that activity is offered with. So he exchanges with the devotee based on that mood of trying to serve the Lord in the desire to please the Lord, which is an element of bhakti, or which is bhakti itself, actually. So this is Krishna consciousness. And if we practice humility, which is the main characteristic of a Vaishnava, then that automatically pleases the Lord. Humility is so pleasing that simply when one exhibits humility in their activities and in their character, even if there's no service, still that is pleasing to the Lord. Humility is such a, because why do we come into this material world? Because we think we can be happy independent of the Lord. So in other words, we have this sense of arrogance. I don't need Krishna. So that's the counterpart of humility. But not only do we need Krishna, but we can't live without Krishna ultimately. So therefore, when a devotee serves with humility, as Lord Chaitanya says, that kind of humility that is very pleasing to the Lord, where one is thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. Everyone wants to feel themselves very important, right? This is the idea of the conditioned souls. And they do things to feel important or to get reciprocation from others so they can also feel important. Yes, but the condition, the living entity or the devotee, he's thinking, I just want to serve. I don't have any qualifications, nor do I have any intelligence or abilities, but I just want to serve. And I just trying to serve Krishna in such a way that he will accept my service. So that's natural humility. And Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that out of all of the qualities of a Vaishnava, humility is it's so far above all of the other qualities that it's bhakti itself. There's no other quality that can be categorized as bhakti itself except humility. And that's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So, and when you carry out your service in the mood of trying to please the Lord, praying that the Lord will accept your service, and you also feel your service is never good enough, that's also a quality of humility. Because if you think, well, my service is so good, somebody also told me how great my service is. And if you believe that, you're in trouble. You're in trouble in your consciousness because you develop this mood that blocks the mercy of the Lord, thinking that you're so qualified to do things or so, what we say, expert at these things. But Krishna is not, he cares about your expertise. As he says here, I'm not, hardly am I pleased with the pseudo mystics. So there's people who can do mystic power. They can do many wonderful feats, smaller than the smallest, lighter than the lightest, greater than the greatest, enter into keyholes, come out, they can even disappear. They can create a planet. That's the highest form of mystic power. But Krishna is not impressed by these things. He can do all of these things just by thinking about it. So, but what is he's pleased with when he sees the devotee is trying to serve him in whatever way the devotee can do in the mood of pleasing him. So that's the essence of bhakti, and that's what this verse is all about. And using the example of penance, there are people who perform penance for their own gratification, and there are others who perform it in order to increase self-realization. Okay, so we'll stop there and see what kind of questions we have.
So thank you, Maharaj. Really useful information. I'm sure devotee will agree that this is so important to understand the real purpose of our life, what Maharaj mentioned, and how to please Lord Krishna. And to please Lord Krishna, we need to please our spiritual master. And to please our spiritual master, very important is to develop important quality, which is one of the qualities, humility. So thank you, Maharaj. And Hare Krishna, dear devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realization, please try to raise your hand. We have very limited time today. Maharaj is definitely going to close class at 1 o'clock UK time. That means 25 minutes from now. So if you have any questions, any doubt, request you to not wait for the last moment and take the best opportunity. Uh, Also request all the devotees, if you can, please switch on your video. I can hardly see, and I'm sure Maharaj will be very, very happy. This is one of the things which we learn now, how to please our spiritual master. So if you can switch on your video, that's one of the tests right now, instant, real time. Hare Krishna. Yes, Valvan Nitai Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Sri Nityananda. I guess this is a sort of an etiquette question based on your final comments today. I love to play kirtan. I live for it. I love to play the kartalas. I love to sing the holy names. And the congregation here in Farmington, they also seem to appreciate my singing and kartala playing. After every performance, devotees come up to me and they tell me, "Oh, Prabhuji, what a wonderful kirtan, this and such." And my natural inclination for praise, I tell you this honestly, I swear this is the truth. I feel personally embarrassed when I get too much praise. And so consequently, I'm not sure how to react in those moments. I say things like just thank you, or I love to serve the devotees this way. What should be the sort of, when you're getting effusive praise from the devotees in this way, what is the appropriate etiquette? What do I say? I mean, this is for the glory of my Guru Maharaj. This is for the glory of the temple. What is the appropriate response? Please alleviate my ignorance.
Well, there's a few. One is, like you said, you say, well, thank you. Actually, it's by the mercy of the devotees that I'm able to do any kind of meaningful service. Or you might say, well, when it comes to your own thought process, you should understand that it's by the mercy of the spiritual master, the mercy of Krishna, that the ability comes in order for you to execute your service in such a way that it's seen as something that is noteworthy. So just pass it on. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the spiritual master. All glories to the assembled Vaishnavas. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. So, but if you take even 10% of it, and then the false ego builds, then you're thinking that I did it. You were part of the activity. If the devotees weren't there, then how would you do anything? So, the cartels were not missing, how would you do anything? If you were, maybe you hadn't taken prasadam yet and you're hungry, you wouldn't you'd be thinking about that during the time you're doing kirtan. So there's so many variables that make up an activity. And that's also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, the endeavor, the ingredients, the time, place, the super soul, and of course the person involved. So we're not actually, we have to understand, by the mercy of the spiritual master by the mercy of the devotees, we have the opportunity to serve. And if somehow the service comes out in such a way that it becomes praiseworthy by others, I mean, you can also say, that actually, it's because of all of you that it turned out so pleasing. You can say so many things, but the point is just don't accept any kind of credit. Because credit means then I did it, but you're just part of the activity, even from the philosophical point of view. You're only a small part of the activity. There's other factors which make up the activity. If those factors are not in line, then the activity will come out less or different. So
I guess
just don't take credit. That's all.
I don't say thank you or something like that. I've been a performer in the world for 30 years. And my fear is that if I don't, I would, hate to offend someone while they're doing that. Do you understand? Do you know what I mean? Like, and so that definitely answers my question in just your short phrase, pass it on.
Yeah,
And
you
so
can just say, all glories to Prabhupada.
that will be what I'll say for sure.
Glories to my spiritual. And just, you don't have to say thank you. Thank you, you might be thinking you did it.
Right, that will be.
Thank you, Prabhu. Nice question. Pavani, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and your lotus feet. Maharaj, I heard in a lecture that when the Paramatma wants to take a bodily or a body, it comes in the form of Guru. So can you elaborate on that point, please?
Yeah. Guru is called the external manifestation of Supersoul. One of the titles of Guru. What you're trying to find out from the Supreme Lord is coming through Guru, who's manifested externally. And those who are fully self-realized and on the platform of pure devotion, they can hear Guru within the heart, who is speaking in the form of Supersoul. So there's no difference between Supersoul and Guru. One is internal and one is external.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you. Become a guru. If you say no, that means you think that you're doing it. But if you say I'll try, that means then you can get the mercy of Krishna. When we say I can't do something, that means you can do something also. When you say I can do, and I say I can't do, it's the same thing. So we can't do or cannot do, we can just depend on the mercy of the Lord.
Yes, Maharaj.
So when I say I can't do it, that's another example of the false ego.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah.
Chief Kumar, you got any questions? You're always full of questions.
Hare Krishna. Dandavad pranams. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, I was just thinking, Maharaj, sometimes the humiliations seem to be playing a powerful role in terms of getting an instruction registered and acting on it. And we don't seem to, at least I'm speaking for myself, we don't seem to act on certain things, certain instructions, certain aspects of it until I go through some humiliation. So I just wanted to understand, Maharaj, why is that so, and how can we avoid till we have to go through some humiliation to act on something?
Well, therefore, one of the principles that make up a disciple is that he should be constantly thinking at every minute, how can I serve now?
Hmm.
So when we take a break, then we sort of lose that connection. So stay connected by always thinking, how can I use my time now
Hmm.
in Krishna consciousness?
Hmm.
And then even if you somehow or other say there are different things you could choose with, and maybe you choose the one that's not as important as the other ones, still because you're sincerely trying to serve, then that's pleasing to the Lord.
Hmm.
And therefore, we should also read the books and hear the lectures so we have the knowledge.
Hmm.
I find devotees, they don't read for whatever reason. They think, well, I have time, but they say I have no time because they're always doing something else. I also fall into that category of finding less time for reading, which I would like to avoid. So the immediate services seem to be something that we adopt, and then reading comes like when we have time. But Maya will always trick you to think that you'll have time in the future, but it's not like that. You got to make time now.
Hmm.
So reading requires schedule. Just like you schedule in certain parts of the day, such as those of you who have some occupation. You have to be to work on time. So we should, therefore, you make that a priority to make sure you're at your workplace on time, or else you might lose your job. So we should also think, what part of the day can I schedule in that reading? Well, every day I'll be reading at that time. Yeah, and then when we're reading, we're also learning, which sharpens the intelligence, and it makes it easier for us to remember both the instructions, and we gain knowledge, of course, through the process of reading, hearing. So make transcendental knowledge in the receptive way a part of your daily schedule. Of course, we do that with this class between 12 and 1, and this is very good. We're hearing and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. But we shouldn't think that's just enough. We should also do individual reading. Prabhupada said, I wrote the books for the devotees. And he also very much reprimanded us for not reading enough. He said that many times. You don't read the books. Not only to gain knowledge, but it gives transcendental happiness when you read, especially when you read about Krishna.
I hope it answers your question, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yeah, then you can avoid that humiliation.
Sorry, Maharaj, your voice is very low. I could not follow.
Yeah, then you can avoid that humiliation.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhu. Rasa Sundari Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, and all glories to Vaishnavas everywhere. Maharaj, so I usually struggle with building relationship with anybody, and I want to build a good relationship with you, but I've been struggling a lot. I know that. So, can you please expand on like how to build a good relationship with spiritual master? In other words, what should I do to please you?
Yeah, what is the relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master is to follow the instructions and to engage in some devotional service. You'll see one of the topics on our disciple form is what service would you like to do for the spiritual master? We've included that. First, devotees had to have an opportunity to write something, and that can be accepted as some service you can do. So sometimes we give a choice: what service would you like to do? Or sometimes there is some service needed by the spiritual master, so he goes and finds someone. Unfortunately, what happens is we go to the ones that are already doing so much service because they're so qualified. But we want to give other devotees who may also be qualified a chance to do personal service for projects. So Eka Chakra is there, and she needs some help with one particular project I gave her. Eka Chakra down. So you can connect with Rasa Sundari and see how she can, assist in that project that you're working on. And you need help for that project. It's a little bit big.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so
Plus
much.
some of the other services you're also.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Yes. So if she doesn't contact you, then you contact her.
Maharaj, like the name of the devotee, please. Like, can you repeat it?
Yeah, she's right online there. She's smiling. Her name is
Oh,
Eka Chakra.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I'll be in touch.
okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji. Shridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. You said the outstanding quality of a Vaishnav is humility. So, when we are dealing with situations where there is wrongdoing happening, there's injustice happening, how can we still remain humble but insistent that justice be done?
You have to make sure you're in the right consciousness, and then you go ahead. Srila Prabhupada was like fire sometimes, but that doesn't mean he wasn't humble. When people would speak about the philosophy in a somewhat distorted way, he could be like thunder, but that doesn't mean he wasn't humble. So when things fall outside of the category of devotional service and become offensive or interrupt devotional service, and you find yourself in the midst of that, that means you have to do something to right the wrong or try to correct the situation. So always speak pleasing, but speak strongly. Speaking pleasingly is the quality, but speaking strongly means it'll have an effect.
Right. So always be respectful, always maintain Vaishnav etiquette, but be firm, strong, and clear in what you're trying to say.
Yeah, don't lose respect for the person you're directing your attention at. But there's some need for adjustment, some correction needed.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
And you're a Kshatriya, you know how to do it. with a little bit of
Still,
Brahminical. You're a
I'm
Kshatriya.
trying hard to be a Brahmin, but the Kshatriya in me has to keep coming out. I don't know why.
You're a mixed Varna.
Right.
There's people who are mixed. Okay, so
Questions on chat.
do we have any, we got 6 minutes left. Any more questions?
A few questions on chat, so I'll just try to see if there are any. This is from Siddharth. Prabhu. Even though we should not think that your service is better than others people's service, there is still an hierarchy. When I come to which service are more important, can you please explain the thought process and habits devotee can adapt to understanding the importance of your service without being prideful of it?
Your service or their service? I don't, let's see, read it again. Even though we should not think that your service, that means you, is better than other people's service, still there's a hierarchy when it comes to which services are more important. That's all important services are important, but when it comes to time, place, and circumstance, there may be some service that needs to be done right away, and others that can wait. So you can judge importance by what is immediately needed. But ultimately, all service is service because service is absolute. And then how can we adopt the understanding of the importance of one service without being prideful of it? Well, don't be prideful. That's all. Do it as a service. The postman delivers the letter, but he's not thinking that he is the cause of you receiving the letter. He's just a medium. So if you take pride in your service thinking I did it, again, we're back to that same discussion, then and then you develop a certain ego that's based on the body. Serve for the sake of service. The happiness you get is in the service, not in the results of the service. You may get some happiness from the results only when you don't look for it. That comes when someone may be very much benefited by the service, and therefore you receive some reciprocation. And you become thankful, or you just say, you know, and then you just pass it on. And at the same time, you understand that the mercy that came in order to do the service is not necessarily coming from me. It's not. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the ability in all living entities. He means that he can make you forget, and then all of a sudden you can't do anything. But he says, if you want remembrance, I give it. If you want forgetfulness, I also provide that also. If you want to forget me, I give you reasons why you shouldn't remember me. And if you want to gain some knowledge, he also provides that also. So we give all credit to the Lord and to the pure devotee who acts on behalf of the Lord. So some services might be needed at a particular time, and therefore that should be accepted as not being more important, but more necessary. Time, place, and circumstance.
I hope it answers your question, Prabhu.
I don't see him online. Maybe he's there the background.
Yeah, he's not. No, can't see him. Where is he? In the background.
No. There he is.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's here, but not in the photo video. Yeah.
Okay, Siddharth?
So perfect, Maharaj, with your permission, because it's just on time.
Do we have one more class? Question in the chat?
That was comment, Maharaj.
No,
That was
that's all right.
the book reading club, that's in Chicago.
Okay, thank you very much. And tomorrow is Monday. We should be back tomorrow and we'll have more time for questions tomorrow. Anyway, so thank you very much. And as I always encourage devotees, read ahead and see what is the next verse. Prepare yourself to think of questions even based on your reading.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yes.
Hey, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much. Hare Krishna.
Sridevi,
Thank
I got
you
some,
very much. Hare
Sridevi,
Krishna.
I got some service for you. I wanna.
Guru Maharaj, are you speaking with me? I can't hear you so well.
Yeah, I have some service for you. I'll send it in a message.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Ananya Bhakti, Hare Krishna, Jai Ho.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.